Hello, friends. Welcome to Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games in a book club / audio format. I am one of your hosts, Jared, and I am joined by my other two co-hosts, Kai and Ben. How are you guys doing today? You guys are also hosts. Not like I don't want to.
The video is a lie. It's only an audio format. This is all fake.
Yeah, this is deep fake technology right here that we're doing. We're not actually on here.
I actually look like a young Rick Moranis.
We are one of the first podcasters in the world.
Ooh, that'd be interesting, actually.
Before we go anywhere, I want to apologize to everyone because if you're seeing the video, I look like absolute death. I am not well. It is not COVID. It is just a very, very bad cold or minor flu.
It is something much worse.
We run a tight ship here, so Ben doesn't get any breaks, no time off. Yeah. We record this podcast for you guys.
It was really weird. Jared sent me a message on Discord that was just my home address, which is weird because I've never given it to him. And I was like, oh, shit, okay.
It was just your home address and Zencaster link, and it's like, here you go. You make a choice.
I was like, yeah, it must be there. No, seriously, I've been feeling shit, but looking forward to this because I like doing the podcast. So
me too. Kai, how are you doing? How you feeling? Good health? Great?
I feel great. I feel fantastic.
Maybe if we tell Ben how great we feel, it'll make him feel better.
I will say I stayed up past 9:30 last night. So,
But you were out and about. I was in the house, so I was still reclusive.
I was out being a youngin'. I was in a spot of I was in a scene that was weird.
Oh, God.
I haven't been around people in forever, so if I'm
did
off
you
my
enjoy
game,
it?
No, not at all. Honestly, I'm the worst. I don't know. It was just a bunch of fake influencer people taking pictures of themselves and titties, a bunch of fake titties, and I'm just like, this is not me. Like I can't be here. It's not exciting for me. But I got to see an old friend, and so that was worth it.
There you go. Fun. Silver linings, positive
Silver lining. If this is your first episode, hello, we're Play Along Podcast.
What's up?
What we do here
What we do here is one of us.
That's been our catchphrase since the jump, by the way, since episode 1. If this is your first episode, what it do has been in every episode before.
Did not steal it from Quit the Build at all. Bruno who?
What we do here is one of the three of us will pick a game. We'll break that game into sections, and then we'll come together each week, discuss the section, recant in excruciating detail. I was not going to say excruciating detail, and then I didn't commit halfway through.
It's part of the slogan now. That's it.
It really is. Yeah. Play Along Podcast, excruciating detail. So we'll go into detail with the game, not only like our experiences with it and how we felt, but recant the events that happened as well. In our last episode, we played through the Oregon Trail, which was fun. A lot of our friends that went along with us in the Oregon Trail did not make it. Only a few of us actually made it to Oregon, but go check out that episode and listen to see which one of us actually ended up making it to Oregon. But in this is our first episode of our brand new series. We are covering Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, which was my choice. What we usually do here, right? Exactly. Spoilers to nobody that I like Zelda, and I forced them to play through Ocarina of Time. It was our first game that we played, and now we're back. We're back again.
Is it the Wind Waker, or is it just Wind Waker?
It's the Wind Waker.
This is the Wind Waker.
It's the Wind Waker.
Exactly.
Okay.
What we do in the first episode of our games is we go around round robin and gauge our own experiences with the game prior to playing it for the podcast. So, Kai, I'll start with you. What was your experience with Wind Waker before playing it for the podcast?
Yes, like most of the Zelda games, I've played them before with you. So I think I played it a little bit when it came out originally, and then I think the next time I played it was when you moved back out to where we live. And I think that was the first game we played together when you moved back out here.
Yeah.
And I was Map Boy because we were playing it on the Wii U, and the gamepad has the map on it, and so I was his navigator as he played through Wind Waker, and it has a special place in my heart. But I've had good experiences with it previously, and excited to jump back into it.
Benji?
Just before, I was going to say, before I'll give my thoughts in a second, but I just had a look real quick. Did you know this is the 4th game you've suggested? All of them have been Nintendo games, and 2 of them have been Zelda games.
That does not surprise me.
Ocarina, Super Mario RPG, Pokemon, and Wind Waker.
Yeah, that's very on brand for Jared. He's
Wait.
actually getting paid by Nintendo.
Well, fuck, I wish. Jesus
Your
Christ.
interstitials have been different. We've done like Doom and stuff like that, but like main series, like
Well, it's funny because I've already thought of my interstitial, and it was going to be another Nintendo game, but I decided not to do that and to do a different game instead.
that's how Jared's whole spick. All the main series are Nintendo, and the interstitials is where he jumps out ship.
Yeah, exactly. Someone has to do it because Zelda won't get played if I don't force people to play it.
Well, I mean, we said, I don't know if we said on episode or not, but Wind Waker was going to be my next series. It was between Wind Waker and something else. So when you picked Wind Waker, you made my decision for me, which I appreciate greatly.
You're welcome.
Wind Waker. So I know of the game.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's... I don't know how true this is, but as someone who isn't in the Zelda community and isn't a Zelda player, my impression of Wind Waker is that it is deeply controversial within the Zelda community.
I would say
a lot of
sorry,
people. Well, I was going to say, from what I've seen on the outside, the big talking point is the graphics and the art style. People were not a big fan of this like chibi cartoon kind of situation that Wind Waker's got going on, and it just seems like it was very different from all the other Zelda games that have come before it. And like I said, from the outside, the impression is people either love it or hate it in terms of being like a Zelda fan. But I was very curious, actually, because of you two. After we finished Ocarina, I believe it was Kai who said that that Wind Waker would be a better introduction into the series for somebody rather than Ocarina. And so that's what I got it put on my backlog, and I knew I was going to get around to it eventually. And here we are.
Yeah, with Ocarina, you could definitely like feel its age, and even though Wind Waker will be 20 years old next year, I said tomorrow, next year, it doesn't feel like a 20-year-old game necessarily. Like,
Have you noticed that's all the GameCube games? Every single GameCube
they have a lot of polish
holds up
to them. Yeah, 100%. With myself, obviously, I recommended this game. I've played it lots of times. It's going to be interesting tackling this in a very critical format because I feel like I'm going to be pretty biased to this game because already in the section we've played, I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best game I've played. This is amazing. 10 out of 10.
Ocarina who?
Ocarina what? Who's Ocarina? But yeah, like Kai said, the last time we played, I think it was 2015 when we played it and beat it together. So it's been quite a while since I've jumped back into Wind Waker, but I played it originally on the GameCube and then the Wii U version. And it's definitely up there. Definitely top 5 Zelda games, I would say. Possibly.
Oh yeah, let's say that as well. You guys are playing it on the Wii U virtual console.
Yeah, we're playing it on the Wii U remastered version of it. It got a HD remaster on the Wii U. Mostly just bumped up resolution, and they have a new lighting engine in the game. But other than that,
more importantly, unlike my GameCube version, no inverted controls.
No inverted controls.
Who the fuck decided that turning the stick to the right moves the camera to the left? Why is it's not even inverted vertical? I could understand that. It's inverted
just
horizontal.
A horizontal inverted camera.
Oh, it's
it was the
GameCube,
so dude. All GameCube games were like that, which is unfortunate. But I mean, a lot of people prefer that. Honestly, they didn't like the change going into the Wii U version.
Okay,
people don't like change in general.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, off the back of that, like you guys are. I mean, Jared's very involved in sort of Nintendo community as well. And I mean, Kai's a fan of Nintendo stuff, but like,
Jared is on a different level. But yeah,
like, what's your sort of understanding of the consensus of the game? Because, like I said, as an outsider, it seems very controversial, and it seems to be very love it or hate it.
Yeah, I would say that it's in its release on GameCube that was the initial consensus was people were hoping for a darker Zelda, and the reason for that was at Space World right before Wind Waker was actually launched, there was a demo for a Zelda game, and it was very dark, it was very brooding, and it was an adult Link fighting Ganon. It kind of looked like Twilight Princess, but a lot of people were thinking like maybe this was like a predecessor or a test for Twilight Princess. But people were expecting and hoping that. And then they got Wind Waker, which is very stylistic. The characters are very chibi, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But I think that, like now, people looking back in it see how much this art style holds up. Like even like I was showing Kai like the GameCube screenshots. The game looks good. Like it looks really well.
Oh yeah.
And the Wii U version, I think the Wii U version is controversial because not a lot of people like the new lighting engine. It's very bright. Some might say it looks a little oversaturated. Um, I think it looks fine. I think it holds up. But I would say that's more of the consensus now. A lot of people are like, actually, this was a great game. This art style was fantastic. And I think that Wind Waker will never look like an old game. Like, I think 20 years from now, Wind Waker will still look like it could come out on that year because of the stylistic choice they decided to go with.
I mean, there's also the fact that it's like this game had a period of 4 years to be the hated version, and then Twilight Princess came out, and everyone loved Twilight Princess because it was the dark one. Yeah. And then it was Skyward Sword, and then everyone
hated Skyward Sword was the black sheep.
That is the most controversial. So, like anyone who is holding like, oh, Wind Waker, they don't like the art style. They had much more to hate in Skyward Sword than they ever did in Wind Waker. Right. And I think now I'm the anger has cooled. Enough time has passed. We have context in the other games, and I think most people are like, "Oh, Wind Waker is,
now everyone's
a great
just
game in the canon of Zelda." Yeah.
Also, Zelda fans like getting just angry about dumb shit too. Like in the Wii version of Twilight Princess, they made Link right-handed because majority of the people held the Wii remote in their right hand, and Link is canonically left-handed, and people were up in arms because of that.
Yeah, I mean, plus like all of the sort of Zelda fanboys are still on. Breath of the Wild's
Breath of the Horizon.
Breath of the Horizon.
He's left-handed?
Yeah. If you notice, he holds the sword in the left hand and the shield in the right.
And Link has always been left-handed except for the Wii version of Twilight Princess where he's right-handed. Because, like I said...
Best game ever.
But then people would have been shitty if they had to hold the Wii remote in the left hand and the nunchuck in the right, because that's not natural to them.
Yep.
To the vast majority.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So getting into Wind Waker... I think, and it was interesting because as this game boots up, there is kind of a little narrative that plays on a tapestry of a wall. And it was almost like the perfect next game that we played for the podcast from Ocarina, because this backstory kind of goes into the events of Ocarina of Time. It talks about that there was a land and Ganondorf was destroying this land, and then a hero showed up out of nowhere. Hero of Time, which was the Link that we played in Ocarina, the adult Link. He had taken down Ganondorf, and then as quickly as he appeared to vanquish the evil, he has disappeared. Mm-hmm. I think some time has passes, and then the seal that was holding Ganondorf broke again, and then the people of Hyrule prayed for this Hero of Time to come back, and the hero did not appear again. There was no more Link, no more Hero of Time. Yep. At that point, it was up to the goddesses to kind of seal away the Hyrule Castle, and which is the entrance to the Sacred Realm. And what they did was they flooded the world to do that, and that is where Wind Waker takes place. Is now in this years later in this flooded world as people have adapted to an life that is on the ocean, which is interesting.
Isn't the Temple of Time the entrance to the Sacred Realm?
What did I say?
Hyrule Castle.
Hyrule Castle.
It is a Temple of Time, not Hyrule Castle. You're right. Fake fan.
Also, literally the same plot as Skyward Sword, except they go up into the air rather than under the sea.
Under the sea. This is the Little Mermaid version.
Yeah, what I understand is that essentially this is either a guy who coincidentally looks like Link, and is also the chosen one, or is somehow like a descendant or an ancestor of the Hero of Time.
Yeah, the running theory is all of these individuals are like descendants linked. Or exactly, they're linked. Their ancestor was the Skyward Sword Link, which was the original hero. But yeah, we start before we get into. Oh, what?
I was going to say we should say about the tradition. They created a tradition every year of
the boys
when a boy reaches the age of manhood, he is considered a man 13. And is there you go.
Exactly.
And is given a outfit that resembles Link's classic green tunic.
Yeah.
And is kind of supposed to instill the hope that the Hero of Time will return and will save people once more.
Yep, exactly. And Ocarina of Time, at the end of it, set up kind of like these three branching timelines, and the Wind Waker one is one of these separate timelines that have happened.
Majora's Mask is a separate one, isn't it? That's like a different timeline.
Yeah, Majora's Mask follows. So at the end of Ocarina of Time, we go back to our original timeline, right? And we stop Ganondorf from getting to the Sacred Realm, which we could have done at any point because we have the power of time. We talked about that in our Ocarina of Time series. Go listen to that. But at the end of that, you notice that your fairy Navi flies away, and in the beginning of Majora's Mask, Link is in the woods looking for Navi. So Majora's Mask is the direct sequel to Ocarina of Time in that timeline.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we go into the events of like what actually happens in the beginning, Ben, what do you think about, like, we talked about the visuals, but what are your opinions on kind of the look of this game? The look, the music.
I mean the music still slaps. Like I don't think like I don't think. I mean, I've played 2.5 Zelda games because I'm about halfway through Majora's Mask when I stopped playing, and all of the soundtracks to each game seem to be great. The art style, I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird for me because the only two I've played are Ocarina and Majora's, and this is vastly different. Like this is
very vibrant, very colorful.
Yeah, and it's a lot more cartoony, and it was kind of a bit jarring to see it drawn that way. But I think in a way, because it was done cartoony, that's kind of what's made it timeless.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Ocarina is, unless you remake it from the ground up, no matter what you do, you could put fucking like unless you. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to remake it in Unreal or something. It's always going to look polygonal. It doesn't matter what you do.
Even the 3DS remake still has a little bit of that polygonalness to it.
Yeah. So, I think. I mean, you could have shown somebody this who doesn't know what Wind Waker is, and they probably would have been like, "Oh, it's like a Zelda-inspired indie game or something." Like it's just
because there's been many Zelda Wind Waker spin-offs that we were talking about Windbound before we started recording. That's literally Wind Waker. Like it's you have a boat, drive the sea, go to islands, you do shit.
It's a good idea. I mean,
but I think the cartoon aspect fits the comedy side of this game because this game is a lot more comical than the other two that I've played.
Link is very much more expressive in his facial expressions and his reactions.
Fucking meme worthy is unreal.
Like, it really is.
And I love the fact that like every time you get a weapon, he like puts it up and makes this like Daddy Kuma face. And he's always like, I got the shield. And it's like, and then you just turn around and, because he does it in real life, you just turn around and look at your grandma, and your grandma's like, "Go forth, child." And you're like, okay.
Well, that's an interesting point in this Zelda game that isn't in a lot of the other ones. Is Link actually has a family. He has a grandmother and he has a little sister, which in the very beginning, our little sister is trying to find us. She's looking for her big brother Link. And she's walking around, and she realizes that he is at the top of this like lookout tower. I don't know, what would you call that? Like
it's a lookout. It's tower. It's like a big version of a crow's nest on a ship.
And per normal Zelda tropes, Link is sleeping, like he is in the beginning of every single Zelda game. He is woken up by some character.
Holy shit! That is,
Yep.
I never realized.
Well, Majora's Mask isn't because you're walking through a forest, but most of them,
even Majora's Mask, don't you get woken up by the face salesman?
Yeah,
and he's like, "You've been met with a terrible fate because you died."
Yeah.
Maybe
that's the running theory. Your sister goes up and finds you and says that it's your birthday and that the grandma is looking for you and happy birthday. Ben, you talked about it, but it is his time to wear the hero's garb. He's now a man, the ripe age of 13. I actually don't know how old Link is in this at all. I don't know if 13 was the age that they said.
It was 13. That's what the grandma says anyway. Yeah.
Gotcha. That we are now 13. Is this? She gives us a present, right? Does she give us a telescope here?
No,
that's a little bit later. Yeah. But she says our grandmother is looking for us, so now we can go and we have free reign to explore Outset Island, which is the beginning island of this game. I just started talking to everybody, and like I said, the music, it just slaps. I can walk around Outset Island, and
you actually have a younger brother as well, don't you? The guy with the snot coming out of his nose, isn't he your brother?
I don't think he's a brother.
He was like, I swear he was following me around, telling me he was my brother and shit.
Please be my brother. My family doesn't like me.
Maybe that was a GameCube exclusive event.
Yeah, not that I know. I know because there's that guy, like the kid with snot dripping out of his nose, and then there's another kid that's a little taller, and they're the kids from the guy that's trying to hunt the pigs. There's a guy crawling around, and he's trying to like grab the pigs, and I think those are his kids.
Oh no, he's older brother Joel. Apologies. He mentioned older brother, and I just assumed it was us. But yeah, I spoke to everybody. I learned the ways of the sword before I was meant to learn the ways of the sword, and not a fan of the sword play in this game so far.
You're not?
Well, so far it's like bits of it are simple enough. Okay, it's like, oh, you press B to horizontal slash, but then if you lock on and press B, it's a vertical slash.
Yes.
And if you move forward and press B, it's a thrust. Like the thrust, fine, okay. But I just have a feeling that later on there's going to be some sort of boss where I have to horizontal slash him, which means I won't be able to Z lock him. Like the way that the game sets it up, and makes it look as if you need to remember this is how I horizontal slash and this is how I vertical slash.
Yeah. There definitely might be. I'm not remembering a boss specifically, but I could easily forget.
Or maybe even like a puzzle or something.
Right.
Like I'm sure it's going to come into play at some point.
Skyward Sword does that all the time.
All the time. It's the entire fighting mechanic, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's what I mean. And so having known that about Skyward Sword, that's what kind of made me cautious about it, because I was like, okay, is this like the pre-test that led to them going, oh, okay, we can use motion controls to make fins? Because I know they did a bit in Twilight Princess. There was like some motion controls, but it wasn't as focused as Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that one was also on the Wii too, so it had the motion controls with it as well. So that's like waggle physics. Yeah. So other than that, like if there isn't a like slash specific boss or anything,
other than that, fine. It's simple enough. Like
combat's a little. It's still simplistic, but it's a little more in depth than like Ocarina's sword fighting, which is just like slashing. At least there's directions and ways that you can kind of change up combat.
I mean, not
you counter.
We'll get into it later. Like you can counter. You can block an enemy's attack and make them drop their weapon, and then pick their weapon up and hit them with it, which was very helpful in the fortress.
Yes.
Do really over-exaggerated rolls.
Yes. Yes.
You gotta have the classic Link roll.
Barrel roll. That's pretty much the whole vibe of that entire dodge animation.
Yeah. So we eventually get down. We talk to our grandmother, and she tells us that it is our birthday, and today is the day that we have to wear the hero's garb as per tradition. Link also states that it doesn't seem like it's the right weather for this outfit, and he looks very hot and uncomfortable while wearing it. But Grandma's like, "Nah, you're gonna wear this. It's our tradition."
Yeah, he was wearing this like really nice linen long shirt, and now he's wearing this like cotton tunic with a hat.
With a hat that just sits on the back of his head too, and like not even a full
hipster beanie style.
But yes, now we're wearing now we look a little more like Link. Got that Link outfit. He's a cool little belt on.
A little.
we have become Link.
We are now Link. Oh, did you? Because Kai and I always do this when we name our character in these games. It's always an amalgamation of the first two letters of both of our names. Did you just name your character Link, or did you name it Ben?
Mine, I called mine Benius.
Ooh,
because last time I called mine Ben, and I was like, I don't like that.
That's right.
Benius sounds like a hero's name.
Is this going to be like a Game Grumps thing where it's like Schmooples and Schmoop, and every time it's going to be a different like Ben name that's going to be your hero?
I'll try. Okay. I don't like that because it foreshadows that we're going to be playing a shit ton of Zelda. But
I mean, it's going to happen, guys. If it means we play one once a year, then I guess I'm fine with that.
I guess.
Okay. Anyway,
we have to go find our sister.
Yes, we go back and find our sister, and then she's still atop the tower, and this is where she gives us the telescope. She tells us this is her prized possession, and she actually doesn't give it to us. She's just like, you can borrow this for the day because it's your birthday, and I'm a great sister. You go down, you can kind of take a view of the island. You see that there is a humanoid bird man that's standing by the mailbox.
Bird person,
sorry.
He looks like a rocker. if anyone plays D&D, which is essentially that, a human bird.
He looks like a bird person.
Aracock, I think is called.
In Rick and
But
Morty.
yeah.
He looks like bird person.
He looks like Birdman, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the postman.
Yes, but he's frantic. He's freaking out. And
this was my first introduction to the fucking inverted controls. This was where I found out.
Look up, immediately looks down into the ocean.
Yeah. And like I was trying to find it, and the sister's going like, "Look there, look over there," and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, I cannot find. Where is this guy?"
I can just like see you like frantically trying to like you go one way and you try to like overcorrect and like go the wrong way, and you're just like.
And the problem was I didn't realize I was zoomed in like ×6, so it wasn't even like I was looking the whole way out. I was like partially zoomed in. It was awful.
That's going to be interesting for like later things like shooting arrows and other projectile weapons. So there's definitely puzzles that need arrows.
I just need to remember it's inverted, and then I should be okay.
Yeah.
But Birdman is freaking out, and when you follow his line of sight, there is a giant bird.
Not a Birdman, just a normal bird.
No, this is like a big fucking bird who's just flying along. From what I remember, being chased by a pirate ship that's shooting cannonballs at him.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Zelda and pirates. I mean, fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
So he has a girl in his foot claw talon fin. And the cannonball hits him in a very comical way. He looks around and is like, "Ah!" and it hits him, and he drops this girl.
I was going to say that, like, this is like some of the examples of how kind of over the top and comical this game can get, because you see the cannonball like shot towards the bird and he looks at it and just like has a very like gaping mouth and then gets like he's stuck in that position.
It's very Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it's very Looney Tunes, and then gets hit by the cannonball and then falls and drops the girl into the forest.
Which I feel like this is why it had to be cartoon, because if that was 3D, I'd be a bit like,
it's just a photorealistic bird.
Yeah. But he drops this girl, and she falls into the forest on the top of the mountain on Outset Island.
Yes.
And Ariel is your sister's name. I believe that's how you say it.
Ariel.
Ariel.
I think it's Ariel, yeah. Ariel.
But she's like, "Oh my god, someone needs to save that girl, but it's too dangerous for you to go alone." But she doesn't say take this. She instead tells you to go and find someone.
Go find someone that will let you take this. And continue on.
And this is when I had to redo my sword training, because I spoke to the sword guy prematurely. And you do your sword training. He teaches you how to parry, how to slice in the different directions. And afterwards, he gives you a sword.
Yep.
And you are now equipped to go to the Forest of Fairies.
You are kitted out. It's going to be interesting because later there's like I don't know if it's like a mission that you have to do, but you can get a special item, but you have to hit him 100 times without taking damage.
Bruh, if you do the Ron Finn, like there were so many times when he was telling me
screams at you.
Mate, there were so many times where he was telling me to horizontal slash him, and I instinctively locked on and Z-locked him and vertical slashed, and he just screams and hits you with the fucking butt of his bow staff, and is like, "Do it again." And you're like, Jesus Christ.
He's teaching you patience and diligence by being angry and impatient with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching Jared do this section was like, watching a top tier athlete, walk onto the court. Motherfucker was just like blindfolded, like clicking buttons, just perfectly.
Controllers upside down.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, you played a lot of this game, didn't you?
Well, I'm getting to points where I'm just like saying dialogue options, or like saying, like doing things that happen like before they happen in the game. Like, oh, I've played this game too many times.
Yeah, I had a feeling that would happen.
He's running on autopilot. I'm just like, okay.
Well, it's going to make this interesting.
Sorry, I was going to say, you keep talking, on.
Oh, I was going to say it's going to be interesting because Ocarina, I did that where I kind of just ran on autopilot, and there's a lot of things that Ben's like, you missed this entire thing? I was like, I didn't guess I didn't do that. So,
and this is like a semi-open world Zelda, so this is going to be interesting.
Right. What were you going to say?
We do meet Sword Guy's brother, though.
The old dude on top of that. Yeah, Megamind.
And yeah, I think the stereotypical Finn is like, one of them is big brained but unathletic.
One of them's smart. One of them's like physically built, and they don't get along.
They live. The smart one lives atop in like a part of the house above the athletic one, and the athletic one's
Mhm.
always making noise, and there's a big issue, and blah blah blah.
He breaks plates.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
If you roll into any of the walls when you're in the dojo below and knock the plates down, he'll scream from upstairs that he's angry and upset because his plates.
100% did that.
Yep. Of course. You got to knock that. The physics in this game is fun to play with because if there's any kind of pots or any kind of plates, you can just run next to them and they'll fall off things and they'll break in a very satisfying way. Well, now we have to head towards the forest to save this girl that fell out of the talons of this giant bird. We climb up kind of the mountain and across the bridge to this forest. And as we get into the forest, this is kind of our first introduction with some of the bokoblins, the enemies of this game, who die in a very satisfying way. The little poof cloud explosion is very satisfying to watch.
So nice. And also, this entire game just reminds me of Smash Bros. Like all the animations because of, it's the same Link. So
yeah.
This is what it's pulled from, Toon Link or whatever he's called.
Yep, Toon Link.
Did you get the red rupee?
I didn't get a red rupee. Maybe I did.
I don't know. Maybe you did. I think you did.
There's a log you can crawl through where you get a red rupee.
Oh yeah. I think I grabbed that.
Yeah.
I went throughout the entire island and cut down all the grass, getting as much rupees as I can.
Yeah, he was on a fucking mission when he was playing this. He's like, I'm gonna cut down every blade of grass. I was like, really? Every blade? He's like, okay. And then there's a guy that you talk to who's standing like by his house and he has a whole lawn and he cut all the grass down and then talked to the guy and he's like, it'd be nice if you could cut my grass
And I was
down.
like, bro, I just did that.
I just look around.
I did the exact same thing, dude. Don't worry. Like, I was like, oh, he's gonna give me like 5 rupees or something. Like, yeah, cool. He gave me absolutely didn't even acknowledge the fact that he was now standing in a clear patch of grass.
Yeah, unobservant. But yes, we fight the bokoblins in the forest, and then Tetra, or we find out her name is Tetra, wakes up to see that she is in a branch, struggles, and then falls out of the branch in a very, again, silly, cartoony fashion where the branch breaks, and then she's kind of still there for a second, and then she falls. I don't know if that's like purposeful or if that was like with like the limitations of the system or something. I don't know.
That was definitely
100%.
Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't want it to be like
100%.
No, I was 1000% on purpose. They were like, "This is gonna be funny."
It feels like the entire tone of this game is like going to be that kind of Looney Tunes comedy. Yeah,
but she's not grateful that we had saved her at all. She's very just like, oh yeah, whatever. I could have saved myself. Her lackey comes in and is very worried about her, and she kind of just shoves everybody off. And it's like, no, it's okay, I'm fine. Whatever. I don't need you guys. Big Rudo vibes from Ocarina of Time, being like, nah, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And I believe they run off quickly to chase this bird.
Yes,
because essentially they are pissed off at this giant bird. And one thing we should say as well is like when the cannonball hits the bird, you see the bird close up, and it very clearly has a mask over its face with 2 giant green eyes. And so immediately I'm calling it that like Ganon is controlling this bird somehow. Like I have a feeling that mask is like some sort of power control over the bird. Like,
do you think the bird's good and it's actually being manipulated by evil?
Dude, the bird's going to be like some sort of guardian of the fucking island or some shit, or like because he roosts on the fortress that we go to. And so I have a feeling that like
hearing your theories throughout this playthrough is going to be honestly the best part of this whole thing. I'm so excited.
I mean, the whole mask controlling the bird who's actually good, that feels like a pretty solid theory because it's such a fucking trope.
Yeah.
That I'm 99% certain that is what it is. Okay. And we're going to fight the bird and we're going to get rid of the mask and then the bird's going to be good. And it's
wow, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I don't know why he sounds like that, but that's what he sounds like in my mind.
We now run outside.
Yes.
And we run out following the pirates and we're on top of this cliff. And our sister's like, hey, big brother, hey. Completely forgetting that there's a giant fucking bird flying around.
Exactly. Read the room, Errol. This is not the time.
Yeah. And the bird, sure enough, swoops down and grabs her. And she's like, oh my God, brother, help me. Oh my God. And
Link's ready to just jump off this cliff. And
he's like, game time. Let's go.
This bird is miles away by the time he gets to the edge, and he's like, "Nah, I'm going for it."
Yeah, and I do believe that Tetra saves us. She grabs Link as he falls off the cliff.
smacks some sense into us, and it's like, bro, there's just no saving her. We can't save her.
This, my folks, is what we call an inciting incident.
This
story begins.
Yeah, she becomes a bit of a dick because
she's definitely a dick.
We're like, we want to come with you because they're going to go to is it a Forbidden Fortress?
Forsaken Fortress.
Forsaken.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the Forsaken Fortress because the postman tells us that is where this bird roosts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, if you're going to the the Forsaken Fortress, we want to come with you. That's our sister.
Well, hold on. Tetra does not want to go to the Forsaken Fortress. She's like, I'm not going to take this kid along with me. This is fucking stupid. And then Bird Person comes in. And
Bird Person's very sassy.
He saved you. You fucking owe him. You need to do this
shit.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
get over yourself.
She doesn't want to take us.
Right.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to take us, but then the postman convinces her, basically. Because they are, I'm correct, aren't they? They are going to go anyway, but they won't let us go with them.
I think so. I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember. I just remember Bird Person,
laying down the sass and being like, exactly.
Link asks Tetra if he can travel with them, but she refuses. And then Quill, who is the postman, he interjects and is like, you should let him help you. He's obviously very handy. And she's like, all right, bro, cool, whatever. But you're not coming with us unless you have a shield.
Yeah, like a way you can't even protect yourself, like a way to protect yourself. Big hints, because before when we met Grandma, there is a nice shield that she says she hangs up on the occasion every year.
From generation to generation. We had a whole little intro to the shield.
It's the Hylian shield, but brown instead of blue.
Yep.
And it has the Triforce on it and all of that good stuff. And this is what confused me because I was like, oh, I know where this shield is. So I ran to Grandma's house and I ran straight past Grandma up the ladder to the bit upstairs where the shield was. And it wasn't there. Gone. So then I jumped down and Grandma's like, no, Link.
She's sobbing. She's like, where's your sister? It's a very sad moment. She doesn't want to see. She's very old. She only has her kids, her grandkids. What happened to Link's parents?
She lost 2 grandkids in one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean. Like
she
lost one to a giant bird, and
you hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
And then the other one is potentially going to go give his life trying to save her.
Yeah, exactly.
But she gives you this shield, and she's like, you're a man now. It's time, and you can now either go and talk to Tetra, who will set sail with you, or you can go around and do these little side quests where you get rupees and collect pigs and stuff like that.
Pig farming is fun.
I didn't bother with any of it.
Grabbing the pigs and throwing them off ledges is probably the peak of this game. That's all.
I should say you guys have a bit of an advantage, by the way, because the HD version of Wind Waker gives you a wallet that holds 500 rupees, but my initial wallet holds 200.
Yeah, there's a couple things too. We'll eventually get it, but there's an item that makes sailing much quicker than it does in the GameCube version too. That's another item that they changed for the HD version. But yeah, now we're heading out at a very sentimental goodbye.
Yeah, sentimental goodbye, but she tries to convince you to go back. She doesn't want us being any part of this, and she's like, it's not too late to turn back, like it's okay if you're scared to do it, blah 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 blah. And of course we just don't say anything because we're fucking Link.
Imagine just like Link dialogue, just him throughout the entire
game. Only words he ever says, he just looks at her and he's like, shut the fuck up.
Also, we're getting lectured by another pretentious 13-year-old, so
exactly.
We don't really hit the same.
But she's a pretentious 13-year-old pirate.
Exactly. There's a big difference.
And of course, with all pirates, hazing ensues. that's what happens when you're a pirate. Is that you have to become part of the clan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this where Nico comes in?
Yep. Nico, who was the bottom of the barrel before we had joined the crew, and now that we are now the scum of the ship, he is like, okay, cool, I'm going to put you through this test. We go down to the bottom of the ship, and there's a little test that he has that has us jumping between platforms and swinging on ropes to get from one side of the boat to the other side of the boat. He's very cocky and is like, yeah, this will take you at least a year or so to master, and it's
because that's how long it took him.
Simple. Yeah, exactly.
It would have been very easy to make this section look like it was actually part of a ship, but instead they were like, no, we're just going to put a bunch of weird fucking elevators in the middle of a pirate ship. And
there's platforms
is it
and
there?
you have to
Who
jump on
knows?
the button. The platforms
Yes.
lift up and it's timed.
Mhm.
You jump across them, and there are some sections where you have to grab a rope and swing. But yeah, surely you could have just had like holes, like a mid deck, and then just have
Mhm.
holes in it that you have to get across by jumping on a rope and swinging. Like,
Yeah, something like that. They're trying to implement the whole time aspect to it, where like the platforms are only up for a certain amount of time. So I guess I get it, but
you don't need to implement all of the mechanics of the game in the first half an hour. You could
yeah,
have somebody get down the rope system and then introduce the time mechanics in like the second or third dungeon if you wanted to. Like, there's no necessarily need to say, oh, here's how you do a sword, here's how you block a shield, here's how you do
yeah,
this. Oh, there's time mechanic. Like, there's no real need for it.
right. You get all of that very early into the game, and that it
Yeah.
develops more and more as the game continues, obviously. But you do get a lot of it just very quickly.
Yeah.
Also, this
go on.
pirate ship is the wardrobe from Narnia. The outside very small, inside
Oh, yes.
very expansive, unlimited rooms.
massive.
It's just like where did this come from?
I love
seems
this
an
is how I can
inefficient
tell
use
you're
of space.
American, because you went with the wardrobe from Lion Lich and the Wardrobe instead of the Tetris from Doctor Who. Not the Tetris. Is it a Tetris? What's the name of his fucking box? His police box.
Dodge.
Oh, I've
Wrong
never
people
seen it.
to
I've
ask.
never seen a Doctor Who in my life. Not a doctor has been seeing who? What doctor?
Who? Doctor Who?
Oh, the
I don't know.
TARDIS, not the Tetris, the TARDIS.
That's
But
just a
yeah,
video game.
the same thing as like TARDIS is like a blue piece box, and you get inside, and it's fucking
Do
massive.
people not make Narnia wardrobe comparisons out there? Oh wow,
No.
that's the go-to here. That's the creme de la
Well,
creme.
That book is
Narnia?
English, isn't it? At
Oh,
least
yeah.
the actors are.
I'm pretty sure the
The
book
actors are.
was English. Wasn't it like C.S. Lewis?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we should play the Narnia like PS2 game for the.
Can we do like a whole
for the
series
show?
where we play movie spin-off games?
Sure, maybe
Something may be coming
something
up.
might be a brewing.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis was
you'll
English,
drink.
but yeah. So now we, Nico is very pissed at us for having done
Yes.
it. I don't know about you, but first attempt,
Oh yeah, 100%.
it's not.
Technically, he
okay.
wasn't.
Well, not pissed. He was more kind of.
He was like
shocked.
baffled that you like. Yeah, exactly. Big Pogger's face.
He was soy facing. That's what he was doing.
We got the
Well,
sparkles
I say on doing the first try, but like the first jump I did because I didn't like wait for the timer to like go down first. I just fell off the ledge immediately.
Yeah, he got real cocky. He was like, "All right, fuck this game. I got this," and then immediately jumped and fell. And
Wow.
I was
See,
like,
I ran to the other side because there's a button you can press on the other side that resets them. So I reset them and then came
That's what
back,
you're.
started
That's,
it.
that's what you're supposed to do. And I was like, nah, I got this. I can do this in this time.
But now we get the spoils bag. The
I thought I
spoils
was
bag-
joking because I said it before I opened the chest. I was like, spoils bag. And he's like, that sounds like a silly thing. And you're like, oh, you weren't joking. It's called the spoils bag.
Because you, for some reason, need a bag to hold the spoils that monsters drop when you kill them.
They don't fit in your normal infinite pockets. You have to have a separate thing to
It's
play.
like, have this... we can't call it a bag of holding because, Wizards of the West Coast and everything, so we're going to call it a spoil bag.
You get another bag later.
You do.
Explain to me why they would put a spoils bag in a chest in a pirate ship separated by moving elevators. What is the logic system here?
Well, this is Nico. Didn't Nico create all of this? Isn't this like his like brainchild?
No, it's not.
Someone
I don't think it's his,
has
is it?
too much time on their hands, though. Well, I think it's the ships in general, and he happened to give it to us, and he's like, if she gets mad at me, whatever, I'll just deflect.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, Nico's not making good,
not making good
career
choices
decisions
here.
out here.
That's a fucking red flag right there, bro.
He's gonna get thrown off the ship. He's gonna get stabbed.
Nico's gonna need to update his LinkedIn to hashtag open for work soon here.
On his profile picture, looking for work.
Yeah.
But I think now is when basically you get it, and then Tetra immediately calls you and is like, "Get up here."
We're here. We have made it to the Forsaken Fortress. As you get there, it's this big, brooding castle in the middle of the ocean that has a bunch of spotlights that are searching around the castle.
It's Alcatraz on crack.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fucking massive, and there are spotlights everywhere, and there's very clearly just one part off to the side where the giant bird is roosting in his
little nest. Yeah, but
go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say they say that there's no possible way that we can get close with all of the spotlights. They do make a funny comment. They're like, "Oh, look at that window. There's a bunch of seagulls around it. That must be where they're holding the girls." And it's like, okay. I guess
That's a leap.
Errol kind of liked seagulls, and that's why
Look
they're
at this
there.
island on the sea.
There was
Look
a
at
lot
the
of seagulls on her like platform where we was sleeping.
Oh no.
Yeah,
But I mean, that was the first kind of official connection, and I was like, that's
maybe
how
she
you're going
turns
to
into a
introduce that.
seagull girl at the end of the game.
I know that you live on an island, Ben, and so I'm sure, this also is prescient for you, but we live on the coast, and seagulls are everywhere. Literally everywhere.
Mhm.
So it would not be very helpful to be like, seagulls.
Yeah,
She must be in that trash can by Costco. Like, that's not going to be helpful.
when I go and visit the coast, seagulls here are fucking massive. I think I sent you guys a picture of one like months and months back.
Seagulls are
But-
mean here, and they're smart.
Dude, like the seagulls at like
Okay.
you go to like Southend or Brighton, like especially Brighton and Eastbourne, like they are like maybe a foot to a foot and a half tall. Like they are fucking big, and they would just steal the shit out your hand.
I'm using this platform once again to proselytize at people of the world. Listen to me, people of the world, okay? Seagulls do not get the respect that they deserve.
Yeah.
People call them rats of the sea, of the air, whatever the fuck people call them. But if there was just less of them, if they were more rare, we would all be fucking mind blown. We'd be like, oh my God, sea eagles, we love them. They're majestic and beautiful, but just because they're really good at fucking each other, we're really angry about it all the time, and it's upsetting. They're majestic creatures. There are much worse birds out there.
I think it's also the fact that they'll eat like aluminum cans if they have to, and they're smart. They're also
They're resourceful. they're intelligent. They're beautiful creatures. They always look like they have ketchup on their mouth. These are all good things.
The seagulls here are actually called Western gulls, not seagulls.
That's a fact.
If you want to see a bird that should not exist, just Google the shoebill stork.
Oh yeah, shoebills. They're the ones that have the big old face.
It's 5 foot tall.
Yep.
And humanoid looking. It is fucking weird.
We've seen shoebills before. Yeah, he loves birds.
Oh my God.
Kai has a bird on him.
Dude, it's
God.
terrifying. It looks like something out of Jurassic Park. Like they have like a fucking 9 foot wingspan or something. They're massive.
You want one? I always get shit on for wanting weird pets, and you can have a shoebill.
No, dude, look at their eyes, man. Their eyes are like human eyes. It's so surreal. Look at that fin.
Yeah, that's
Look at
terrifying. It looks like an animatronic from like.
It's not gonna focus. But
I'll put a picture in the
does look
video
like an
version. If you're
animatronic.
listening to Spotify, there'll be a video version, and you'll
So you
you'll
can
be
see
able
all
to
the
see
you see all the shoebills.
This is me very soon with my shoebill story.
We're gonna have a bonus episode where we just talk about birds, and that'll be the bird
So the next point is the next time that you shit on a seagull, just remember
It has feelings too.
I'm watching you.
Kai
Be nice.
is personally watching you. But yes, now that they said that we can't get anywhere near this fortress, we'll be seen there. Their plan of action is now to launch Link in a barrel across the ocean into this Forsaken Fortress, and Link is not on board. The transition is kind of funny because she does a glancing look at him up in the crow's nest, and it looks on his face, and then it cuts to him in a barrel with just half of his eyes, and it's he's looking squinty, and he's trying to struggle to get out of the barrel. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, which whoever did the sound effects for that, he's just rocking around in this barrel, just going backwards and forwards, and he's like, and you're like, oh,
And he'll just do that for
what?
infinity if you don't continue the dialogue.
What the fuck was that playback? Did you get that feedback?
That was a terrifying noise.
What happened?
There was some weird feedback. I don't know if it was from your mic, but it was like you were in my head making that noise. It was so surreal.
Seagulls are coming.
Oh, God.
Don't.
Yes.
Ellie has a theory about the cat uprising, but we can get into that another time.
But they do launch us from this barrel to the Forsaken Fortress, not successfully because they miss where we were supposed to go. We slam into the side of the wall, drop our sword, and then fall into the water.
Did they miss?
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Can you right? Are you ready? Come on a journey with me, okay?
Let's
see
go.
if this sounds familiar. We begin in the water area of a dock.
Okay.
We swim to the edge. We climb up.
Ew.
We disguise ourselves in a barrel. We then enter an area
Metal
with
Gear
two
Solid.
Oh my god,
spotlights.
it's fucking Metal Gear.
It's Metal Gear Solid. We enter an area with two spotlights where there is a treasure in the middle of the two spotlights that we must avoid the spotlights to get the treasure.
He's right.
Metal Gear.
It's the
It's just
helipad
Metal Gear.
and the tank hangar of Metal Gear combined.
It is. And it's the same thing. It's just avoiding the fucking enemies the whole time, sneaking around.
In your little barrel instead of a box. I loved it.
I was going to say, so how did you feel about it? Because this is very much like Metal Gear sneaking around. We don't have our weapons, so we can't confront any of these enemies, at least right now.
I did the water bit and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of like reminds me a bit of Metal Gear. And I got the barrel.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And then there was spotlights and I was like, holy shit.
Like, this
Metal
really
Gear.
reminds me of Metal Gear.
Yeah. No, but I like this. I like this
Yeah.
because when I got to the Forsaken Fortress, I was like, oh, okay, it's the first dungeon.
Mhm.
But it's not really
Yeah.
because it's, like you said, it's a lot more stealthy and
Mhm.
you can't be spotted because you'll be put into jail, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And
Big floppy lip pigs are they'll get you.
yeah, so the whole mechanic of it is that essentially there are barrels around that you can pick up and hide in, and you can move with them, and then Link will put it down when you stop, and you can use that to be an inconspicuous barrel.
Yes.
But it has this really nice mechanic where if you're walking and one of the guards is going to spot you,
Mhm.
it zooms in on them to let you know that you're under threat of being detected.
It also makes like a very aggressive, like jolting noise when you get seen. It's like,
Yeah, it'll be
if
like,
you stop, they won't see you. Exactly. And then he'll look over at you and they're like, oh, just kidding. And he'll flop his lip back.
Are we talking? Oh, I love the floppy lip animations.
Yes.
Also, those pigs are stacked. I was aroused.
Did you see their cake? Man, they were
Oh my god damn.
wow, double cheeked up on a fucking Thursday afternoon.
skipping leg day somehow though, because those little legs.
For those listening, if you were a little bit turned on as a 13/younger person,
13/25-year-old, that I would understand.
I'm not gonna judge you.
If these
you know?
boar guards were your sexual awakening, that's fine.
Yeah,
we've said this on the Discord. We are sexual positive podcast.
Absolutely,
We are.
absolutely.
If you wanna
Yeah.
fuck the anamorphic pig from Wind Waker, that's
that's
cool.
your kink. We're okay with it.
As long
but
as
no,
there's consent, that's all that matters.
the Forsaken Fortress is a fun little like intro area. Like Ben said, it's not really the first dungeon, but it's kind of this first dungeon-y area that we do. And it's also very different from a lot of other traditional intro kind of areas in Zelda because we aren't going about combat. We don't have our sword. We have to sneak around this area, take out these spotlights, and then get our sword eventually to continue progressing in it, which is
that's
interesting.
what I was gonna say. Is like the big thing is that when you get launched into the fortress and you hit
Yeah.
a wall, Link drops his sword and then splashes into the water. So it's not that you like, oh, don't use you physically don't have your sword.
You don't have your sword with you.
Yeah, which is where I
Yeah.
said like you can block enemy attacks and they'll bounce off, and sometimes they'll drop
Right.
their weapon, and then you can pick up their weapon to attack them.
Right.
You can't do it to the guards. The guards, as soon as they see you, that's it. You're caught.
Toss you in jail.
But the people who are operating the spotlights, the mob goblins,
Bokoblins?
yeah, it's the dudes from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
They can be attacked on the spotlights, and you can turn the spotlight off. I don't know what benefit that has because I completed it without turning off all the spotlights. I turned off like 2 out of the 3.
As long as you do the one that is next to the window, because you have to kind of shimmy across the wall.
Yeah.
And as long as you do that one, because that one you can't avoid because it just goes back and forth on the wall and you don't have enough time to go from one side of it to the other without getting caught.
Right. Okay.
So if you do that one, then that's really the only one you have to do.
Okay. Right. But before we got, I was very proud of myself because I entered the first bit of the fortress and I opened a chest and I was like, oh, what's this going to be? The fucking compass or something? And lo and behold, it was the compass.
Hey, you got the compass. Good job.
Yeah.
You're a real
Zelda
boy.
boy now. You've ascended.
Congratulations.
You've
I
ascended
am.
to.
I'm no longer a casual noob. I can call when I'm going to get the compass.
But no, this area is really fun. after you at least take out that one spotlight, you get to the point where you have your sword, and now you're fighting another bokoblin. This one is a different color, I think, and he has a larger sword than some of the other. It's like the next level of bokoblins. He has a shield and a larger sword.
Did you because I mean that's like that's the end of the fortress. So
right,
how did you get on with the fortress as a whole? Like, did you have any issues? Because
No,
I got caught twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got caught twice, and you get put into prison.
Yeah.
And getting out of prison is super simple. You just there's like a vase who you have to like pick up and throw at the wall, and it reveals a tunnel. And then something that was new for this game compared to the ones that I'd played before is you can now crouch and crawl.
Yeah, there's a crouch button.
I had to get used to it because you have to physically stop moving and then press the R button to crouch.
Well, it's different than like Ocarina of Time, where we have similar areas like that, but you just press A to go into the hole, and then he crawls automatically. Where this, you have to press the right shoulder button to have Link crouch, and then you can do that at any point. You don't have to be near a crawl space to crawl.
No, which is how I got the red rupee in the forest, because there will be like I think there's an orange rupee under Grandma's house in Outset Island, which I didn't get.
Yeah.
But then when you're crawling through the fin, you get to like a junction, and it will be like you either flick the stick up to carry straight, or right or left or whatever, and you can decide where you're going to go. But yeah, I mean, it was straightforward enough. Like the progression of it's kind of natural. Now you have the compass, you know where you are, and you can be like, oh, okay, right, I need to make my... Every time you come out of... Because there's like corridors, and then either side of the corridor will be an open area and like a balcony. Every time you go onto the balcony, it will show you the window that you're trying to reach to, where your sister is. And that's how you can kind of gauge if you're making progress or whatever.
Or walking in circles. Because I remember as a kid being lost a lot in the Forsaken Fortress and getting turned around. And I think if you were like a kid playing this, that it's very easy to get like lost or turned around. And especially if you don't have like a compass or a map or anything like that, then you could easily like get lost in this fortress.
Yeah, it's very easy to. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not too bad.
It's a good intro area. I like it.
Yeah, like you said, you defeat the apparently this is called a green Boko Goblin.
It's Bokoblin. Bokoblin. He's green.
Bokoblin.
There we go.
You now head through the door that he was guarding, and you find your sister along with two other girls, because this bird has been stealing girls with long blonde hair and long ears. Yeah. Even though one of them's got dark hair, ignore that.
Yeah, I know, right? The bird's not very good at his job, okay? He's been trying, and
I know for a fact that was the first one he brought back, and Ganon was like, fucking
bro, blonde, long ears, not brunettes.
Birds, really good at distance, really bad at color.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
You can't hold. He chose a bird. He could have chose something with great color perception. Really, only humans.
That's
to be honest, in the animal kingdom.
But I mean, immediately it's foreshadowing that he's trying to find Zelda.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. Trying to find Zelda to stop her from stopping him.
I'm assuming that Ganon. This is the Ganon that escaped the sacred realm that he was locked in, which means it's Ocarina of Time's Ganon. Which would mean that he would know that Zelda is one of the Triforce.
It's Skyward Sword Ganon, technically, right?
Sort of. Well, there was no Ganon. Skyward Sword is Demise, which is like the original Ganon. But no, I think this is a descendant of Ganon. It's not the actual Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time. In Twilight Princess, that Ganondorf is the actual Ocarina of Time, because there is events that happened in Twilight Princess that are like the end or fill the ending gaps of Ocarina of Time, when Ganon gets captured and everything, and then they essentially seal him away.
Scrap my theory then, because I had a theory that he had prior knowledge from Ocarina that Zelda was part of the Triforce.
He has been here, like he's been here for a while trying to find Zelda without any kind of resistance, because there hasn't been a hero Link yet, and that he doesn't know where Zelda is. Obviously,
what I was trying to work out is why he was targeting Zelda, because in theory he has no prior knowledge unless he's learned something of the Triforce.
That's fair.
He likes little girls.
Yeah.
Problematic. Also, when they're talking about like the bird like swooping up girls, I assume there's gonna be like a lot, and there's only like 3 of them in this cage. Like he just started this plan. He's like, nah.
It's cool. We got the we got to the pedo ring early, and we managed to stop it and break it. So.
Exactly. Shut it down real fast.
But then the bird comes down. I know I've lost the page, but it says like the bird's the Helm Rock King.
Yeah, Helm Rock King.
And he swoops down and picks up Link.
Yep.
And he flies him up, and he shows him to what the walkthrough calls a mysterious man.
We know it's Ganondorf. It's Ganondorf.
He's got the coat. He's got the red hair. He's got the quote unquote dark skin that they mentioned in Ocarina.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's not my words, bro. That's
not
my
all
fucking...
of us dark-skinned people are evil.
Technically, Ganon's Gerudo, right?
He is. He's a Gerudo king.
Yeah.
He's like one of the only males in Gerudo, right?
Yep. And he's like, nah.
Yeah, he just kind of shakes his head, or he makes some sort of gesture, and the bird just fucking yeets us.
Just halfway across the world, apparently.
Classic bad guy mistake.
Yeah.
If he would have just killed us now, the whole game would have been
He could have been like, bird, eat
shit.
Link, and that would have been fine. Roll credits. That's it. We're done.
Why is this Christmas elf breaking my little girls out of here?
Yeah, this is like the Wind Waker equivalent of the boss deciding to build a self-destruct button into his base. Like,
exactly. Underestimating the hero will be your demise every time.
Yeah, that's it. Overconfidence. And then I'm not sure how, but we wake up on a boat because the boat has been observing us and watching us for years.
Yeah. Well, we are in the middle of the ocean, just unconscious, and then the boat pulls up and grabs us and then takes us to Windfall Island, which is where we're at now. And we wake up in this boat and we hear a voice, and then the boat turns its head towards us and starts talking and says that
the most aggressive animation ever, mind you.
And he is the king of red lions, that he has saved Link from drowning, and he's here to help defeat Ganon.
So I'm a bit of a noob at this. Correct me if I'm wrong. For him to be the king of the red lions, that would indicate that there is a species of sentient boats called the red lions. And he is their king.
Yes.
No.
That's what I took from that they are like a race of sentient boats.
He's the only one of his kind.
How can he be the king of the only one?
You don't get to be the king if there's only one.
He's self-proclaimed king of red lions.
Yeah, I mean, I took it as there was a race of sentient boats called the Red Lions, and he is their king and is, for some reason, the last remaining vessel.
I would agree with that synopsis, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, think about it this way. Okay, things evolve due to their circumstance. The world gets filled with water. Lions on land can't survive. So they become sentient boat lions.
Yeah, I'm here for the theory. You're right. That's just evolution.
Mm-hmm. That's just how it is, you know. We were all amoebas at one point.
And boat lions. That's
what the King of Red Lions does tell us. He has a very like foreboding voice, and he has a very like strong presence. But he's like, unfortunately, I am a boat, but I do not have a sail. And so we now have to go around Windfall Island to try to find a sail to use on this boat.
If he doesn't have a sail, how the fuck did he save us and get us to Windfall Island?
Yeah.
You can, once we actually get to boating, you can move the boat without the sail. It just is a
you can use the current
process
of the sea to get you there, but then that would indicate that Link's been out for like 3 weeks.
Exactly. But now we are tasked to go around Windfall Island.
We've just been living off of boat lion milk.
He's just like, feed on my teat, Link.
Suckling on the teat of the red lion boat. Yeah.
But yes, now we have to go around Windfall Island and try to find a sail. But there is a plethora of characters here on Windfall Island and lots of side quests that we can do.
He tells us about Ganon. I completely forgot.
Oh, yes, that's right. He does go into who Ganon is.
Yeah, he's like, the guy is indeed Ganon from the Legends of Yonder, and he is threatening the realm. And essentially, he's like, you know, whether you like it or not, your quest for saving your sister has turned into something bigger than yourself, and you must now save the world.
Yep. And he's like, oh, okay.
And I would assume that we are the chosen one because he's been watching us for some time and blah, 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 blah.
We are the chosen reincarnate of Link.
Yes. So you can now do this in 2 ways. You can either just go and buy the sow immediately and then fuck off, or you can explore.
Yes.
From what I remember, the person who sells us the sow doesn't actually call it the sow. He just says, "Oh, I have this for sale for 80 rupees
For
This thing."
sale.
That's a fucking stretch, Jared.
Ooh.
No, you're right. No one really indicates of where. You just essentially you have to just talk to everybody till you find it. And even when you talk to the guy that does eventually sell it to you, he just calls it the thing or like this item. He doesn't actually refer
But
to
he
it
feeds
as
you
the
this
sale.
sob story.
Alas.
He's like, "Oh, I have nothing except this. You're gonna save my family business." Blah 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 blah.
No. He says he's gonna make a business. He wants to open up a
Yes, he wants
shop.
to open up a shop.
And he's like, I need this money to fund my shop.
Yeah.
So
And we're
essentially,
like,
it's an investment.
Yeah, we're investing in him
Yeah.
and he's giving us a sale. In
Local
return.
business.
Ben, was there any kind of characters or side quests that you did on Windfall that stood out to you?
I mean, we have to talk about Mr. Tingle.
Yeah.
We
I
have
was
to.
gonna say first introduction, but Tingle was also in Majora's Mask. But Tingle is here and he's in prison this time. If you don't
Yeah,
know,
probably
he's in prison.
Understandable if you look at Tingle. He's in prison for a reason.
Yeah.
Let us not shame. I almost called him Pringle. Oof. Don't shame Pringle. He just wants love in his leotard.
We eventually do free Tingle. There's a little button in the corner
Mhm.
of this thing, and he gives us different items for both games. Actually, in the GameCube version, Ben got the Tingle tuner, and then we got the Tingle bottle. Both are relevant because the Tingle bottle is essentially you can write messages to other people on the Miiverse, and they can find your messages in game. But that doesn't actually work anymore, so it doesn't actually function.
Mine is I have to connect a Game Boy Advance to my GameCube, and then that will allow me to get C charts from Tingle through the Game Boy or something.
Yep.
Yeah. But we free
Brilliant
Tingle.
marketing.
The main reason we free Tingle, from what I understand, is because the pictograph is around the back of where he is. You have to move the box and you get the pictograph, which is essentially the camera.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Which Tingle dug and put in there.
He was trying to escape apparently, and then he
I'm not sure who
hid his
did the
treasure there.
tunnel. I think there was like a prisoner beforehand. I'm not sure if it was Tingle.
It says Tingle. Like if you read the wall when you get into the thing, he signs it Tingle.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay.
So he just for some reason befriended the rat creatures and told them to pull ropes if you ever find a trapdoor.
Also, all the rats are adorable in this game. If you take a wrong turn or whatever, there'll be a little trapdoor and there'll be a little rat holding a rope with a bell on it, and it'll pull it, and then you'll fall and land where you were with the red lion, the boat is at, and then you'll be in the beginning, which I thought was adorable.
So I did that Tingle quest and I got the pictograph. I can't do the quest with the guy in the camera shop because on the OG GameCube version, you need a forest fairy to be able to do it. But in the HD remake, you can just walk up to him and get the side quest.
You also can you can hold many more pictures. I think you can hold 20 at once. With the GameCube version, you can only hold one.
Well, fuck my life.
You can only hold one picture at a time.
I did visit the bomb shop. That guy can go fuck himself. 10,000 rupees for 10 bombs. That's a ripoff. And he's also very condescending to Link because we are a child.
Yeah, most people are.
I mean, you're trying to buy bombs at the time.
Well,
Let's keep it realistic.
I spoke to pretty much everyone. I spoke to the two women who were gossiping. I went
so mean.
Yes, very dismissive of Link.
Thank you.
You're listening to our conversation we're having out.
But you're talking in a public place.
Exactly.
Like,
Link just runs his sword through them.
This is my argument. Like when people have conversations on social media, like social media is essentially the public people.
And they're like, stay out of our like comments or whatever. It's like,
they're like, oh my god, why are you talking? Like you're literally
you have DMs for a reason.
Yeah, you're like it's like you're talking in public at a cafe really loud. Like people are gonna overhear you.
Absolutely.
But so I went to the cafe that is above the place where you buy the sale. I had to grind a bit here, guys. I had to grind a bit because I walked into this place with a very fancy door. It was a nice red door with silver brackets and silver detail. And we should say when you enter the island from where the king is, there's a guy who's like, "Oh, my child is missing," blah 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 blah, and asks you to save her. And so you go into this red door, and there is essentially like a mezzanine up above with a really rich looking guy, and there are a bunch of vases that look like Ming Dynasty bloody vases.
Very breakable.
Very breakable.
Very tempting not to break them either.
I broke them.
Oh no!
I broke all 6 of them.
Ben.
I don't know, I've never played this game, dude. So I walked in and I broke one, and he was like, "Oh, stop breaking them. There will be compensation." I was like, "Fuck you, compensation." So I broke all of them, and then I tried to leave, and he was like, "You think you can just leave and breaking my shit and fuck off? Like, who the fuck do you think you are?" So I had to pay 60 rupees. I had to pay 10 rupees for each of the things that I broke.
Yeah.
And this was prior to buying the sale. So I had like 89 rupees, and then I lost 60 and went down to 29.
Then you didn't have enough of the sale.
Yeah, so I had to. That's kind of, in a weird way though, I'm kind of happy because that's what prompted me to explore the island. And I met the, what are the kids called?
Oh, the bumblebees, the killer bees, the bee children. I know what they're
Killer
called.
Bees is the name of one of the gangs from the guys at Wu-Tang. Like Old Dirty and stuff like that were in a gang called the Killer Bees.
This is a reference. These small, like 5-year-old children are now the killer bees.
Go on.
Just Google's killer bees and just gets normal.
Yeah,
bees.
just gets killer bees.
Well, while you do that, there's a lot of interesting side quests in this, and the one
Elvis Presley,
exactly Elvis Presley
just dancing on the grave,
dancing on someone's grave.
But the one I wanted to talk about, and this was the interesting story and the thing that I wanted to tell you about, Ben, that happened. That was incredible. So
once in a lifetime.
There is a gosh, I'm trying to find out what it actually is called. Oh,
Battleship minigame.
Yeah, there's a minigame with a guy named Salvatore. It's sinking ships minigame, and essentially it's Battleship.
Oh, I did this. Is such a fucking pain in the ass. I lost a lot of money to this as well.
Yes, so did we. We did it a bunch of times because we wanted to do it in 20 bombs, and that's kind of like the high score is get all of these squids. So instead of ships, it's squids, and there's 3 of them, and they all have a variety. I think it's 3, 4, and 5. That they're kind of there's the hits to take.
It's 4, 3, 2.
4, 3, 2. That's what it is. And kind of did this a couple times. And like I said, the high score is 20. We wanted to get it in 20. On the last time that we tried, I did it in 9 bombs, and I didn't miss a single shot.
It was the wildest shit I've ever seen.
What the fuck, man?
Wait, here.
Only hit squid.
I did it by just guessing. I have a picture of it, Ben, and I'll show you right now.
We both have pictures of it. It is...
I did like
incredible.
5 attempts, and I did not manage it each time. Like each time I'd get like the 4 and the 2, and I'd be one off of the 3, and I just didn't do it.
It's going to be hard to see, but look, I hit all of them without missing a spot.
What the fuck?
No
by guesses, I guessed all of them on the first try and didn't miss a single time.
Holy shit. Can you send me that picture? I'll put it in a video.
Wait, here, I'll put it in the Discord right now.
It was,
which means you got the reward of like 50 rupees.
And and we got a treasure chart too. We got a treasure map that leads to a treasure.
So just to go back to my tangent, because I don't know how to follow your fucking crazy success story. Wu-Tang Killer Bees are a subsidiary of the Wu-Tang Clan, and they are essentially smaller groups of rappers or solo rappers that get support from Wu-Tang Clan, either financial or in terms of like producers and stuff.
That's hilarious.
So they are like a sub-gang of Wu-Tang. So
I want to believe that these small children are also getting like a little help from the Wu-Tang.
Oh, they will do eventually.
I can guarantee you, whoever made this, the Killer Bees, did not know that fact.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm assuming this was Japanese developed, so I can't imagine that Wu-Tang have that far of a reach.
But Ben, I sent you the picture in the Discord chat here.
Who else is there? So I did the quest with them.
Frame that.
You have
I know.
to
I really want to
put it next to Kai's 3-star review.
Exactly.
I did the Killer Bees side quest. You talk to them, and they're kind of dicks. You talk to the teacher. The teacher's like, "Yeah, they're kind of dicks. Can you help me?" And so they're like,
best teacher.
Yeah, they decide that they are going to hide. And then you have to catch them. It's not enough just to get them; you have to chase them and physically catch them.
This is reminiscent to the Bomb Squad minigame in Majora's Mask when you first go there to kind of progress to the observatory. there's this little gang of kids and they all go hide and you have to find them to progress. So it's very, very reminiscent to that.
And they're all kind of in different places. Like one of them's behind the bomb shop. You have to, we didn't say there's like a whole mechanic in the game where you like shimmy up against the wall and move across very quickly. One of them is like behind a bomb shop. One of them's on top of a tree. You have to roll into the tree and knock him down.
The grave where
behind the grave, and then the other one's behind a bush as you come out of the bit where they are. And then once you find them, they're like, "Oh, congratulations, you're an honorary member of the Killer Bees."
Yep.
And you're like, "Cool. When can I meet Method?" And they're like, "Who?" And you're like, "Oh, this is
different Killer Bees."
But there is a pictograph or a pictobox quest, which I didn't get to do. He assigns you 3 pictures to take, and if you take the 3 pictures, he gives you a deluxe picto box.
Yeah.
I think the deluxe box just holds more pictures. But you have to take a picture of someone sending a love letter, which is you have to take a picture of a guy sending the letter into the post box.
Is it the guy that looks like Mario? Like
yes, it's the Mario-looking
version of. Dude, every time you walk by him, he just like gives you these crazy eyeballs.
The scariest thing. He's so scary.
Yes, he's very
terrifying.
The next one is you have to take a picture of the most scared resident of the island who's in the cafe. You have to pick up a pot, throw it at the wall behind him, and then he gets super scared and starts to shake, and you take a picture. And the third one is
I'm sorry, Kai's been like staring this entire time.
Yeah,
he's doing such a good job where I can't tell if his cam froze or
it's
if
like, is he froze or is he just there?
I can't tell.
The third one is a picture of a couple or like people looking at each other with longing eyes or some shit.
Yes,
but yeah, you get the deluxe picto box.
I mean. The other thing, the walkthrough that we're using Zelda Dungeon to kind of guide us through this. They do a fantastic job breaking these games up. But you can also go to Paw Print Isle and do some stuff there. I did not do that.
I did everything on here. I got this out and then I stopped playing. But I'm very interested to see how this exploration system works because you have like the map. And you get the treasure charts that show you where the treasure is and things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's this section of Wind Waker. I almost said Ocarina of Time. That is the section of Wind Waker. A nice little taste into this game and what's to come. But after every episode, we go around and give our kind of feelings of how we thought of this leg so far. So, Kai, tell us how you felt about intro Wind Waker. That'd be you.
Yeah, I really like this game, and it is probably my favorite Zelda game. And I am reminded of that by jumping back into it and being like, oh yeah, this is why I love Zelda. And because I've had to sit through the last 6 years of people jacking themselves off to Breath of the Wild, which has just pissed me off and left a bad taste in my mouth about Zelda. It's nice and refreshing to get into something where I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice. This is what I remember. The music is phenomenal. I love the art style. I think all Zelda games should be chibi art style. I think that's what Nintendo does best and what their developers do best. There's lots of dark games out there. If you're going to do a dark game, then make it super dark and have it be its thing. Yeah. Zelda has always been this weird, like in between trying to play to a bunch of different markets, which to me is just like, dude, just do something that you're confident in. The mechanics of this game are great. It doesn't suffer any of the issues that the games that came after it. Not so much, Twilight Princess, which is okay. There's also a GameCube version of that. But for sure, Skyward Sword, where it has like, they tried a lot with the mechanics and it just didn't work out for them. And it's open world. I know we haven't really gotten to that aspect of it yet. But just being able to go to these like very different, beautiful, well-designed environmentally areas, like even when you come in from the boat and you're under this like awning of dirt that exists, it's like a big rock kind of shelter that you come in under. It's just beautiful. Like the art style plays well to the environmental design, and this is the only Zelda game with like actual plot. Yes, it is the most basic representation of a hero's journey ever, but like there's an inciting incident. Your sister gets taken.
Yeah.
You join a gang of pirates. You end up getting thrown into the sea and washing ashore, and then like are introduced to the mage character. Like most Zelda games are pretty like shitty when it comes to actual storytelling, and this one at least does some things a little differently, which is nice and refreshing to see.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play through this. I've been having a good time so far. It's very relaxing. A lot of the games we play sometimes can be like very dark.
Disco was a lot just recently.
Yeah, Disco was a lot. And other games as well, where it's just like, oh, this is sad and like very serious. And this is just like relaxing at the end of the day to be like, okay, jump into some Wind Waker and like adventure and explore as Link. So yeah, great so far.
Sweet. Ben, give me your kind of initial thoughts of the game and how you felt about this first leg.
I mean, everything that Kai said, except for the knowledge of the next Zelda games, because I don't have that. I'm a massive fan of the art style. I can understand why some people weren't a big fan of it, but personally, I like it. It's very fitting, like I said, for the overall comedy of the game, the overall tone and things like that. It's a lot more whimsical and comical than the other two I've played. So I feel like that this kind of chibi cell shaded style works. Again, in terms of like the plot, I was really happy with the plot. I felt like it progressed a lot better than like Ocarina's beginning was a little bit rocky, because it was kind of like, oh, you get assigned a fairy, and then you go to the Deku Tree, and the Deku Tree's dying.
You do that first dungeon almost immediately. Like, it just kind of like shoves you into this, and there's no like narrative or anything. You're the boy hero, go do thing. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is very much like, oh, you're not the boy hero, but you have been plunged into this place.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to you, you are in fact the boy hero.
Yeah.
And it just feels a lot smoother of an introduction than Ocarina. Very, very interested to try out the sailing and the open world, the exploration side of it. Yeah, quote unquote open world. It's very sort of. I mean, I'd say it's open world. It's just a small world.
It's a small world that has like locked behind kind of a linear progression. I mean, there's a lot of other things that you can kind of explore and do, but there's not many big plot points that you can do in out of order. You know, the plot points happen in order. Yeah,
as I say, you can't really like sweet sequence break it or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just interested to see how that side of it works and how much I can explore and things like that. But good start so far. Very good start. I'm enjoying this so far more than I enjoyed the beginning of Ocarina.
Oh, interesting. I echo
it's a lot smoother, like I said. Sorry.
No, I 100% agree. No, I reflect and echo a lot of the things that you guys said. Like I said, I'm trying my best to like give an actual critical opinion on this, not just say like, this is amazing, I loved it, let's have fun. I mean, I guess I can, which is which is how I felt, but actually like look and see how this game holds up. Because this one came out in 2013, so this one has been out for a while as well. But the music, man, the music is what makes Zelda games for me too. And I think that was probably one of the disappointing things initially with Breath of the Wild, was the music was very subtle. It was very kind of background music, where I like these big orchestrated melodies that happen when you go in towns and everything. Like Outset Island's music is just so like fun and witty, and it really helps kind of give you an idea of what this world's going to be. There will be dark aspects of this, I imagine, but as right now the world is very whimsical. It's very fun. I mean, our sister got kidnapped, and that's not a great time. But
yeah, the thing is, I mean, sorry to piggyback off of what you were saying while I remember. I like the music in this game, but it's not as memorable as Ocarina. Not for me personally.
Not as repetitive and grating as Ocarina either.
That might be why. I mean, I heard Saria's song like so many fucking times.
I would say that there is versions of Ocarina's soundtrack that I enjoy listening to, and I think it is memorable because of how repetitive it gets, and that could be, I mean, depending on the person. That could be good or that could be bad. But I think Wind Waker has like good music. Like this is kind of music that I think would like could be listened to, where like Ocarina feels very purposeful and feels like it's like good for this environment at times, but Wind Waker's is pretty like adaptive.
Yeah, I feel like it's, I don't know if other people agree, but like a good soundtrack should be the right kind of forgettable. You should forget that the music is there, and it should feel ambient and relevant to the environment.
Yeah.
And you should be able to call on it if you want to, but it shouldn't be, you know, Super Mario RPG battle music where it's just smashed into your head and you have no choice but to remember it. Like you should, the soundtrack should also be a part of the world. It should be an extension of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I feel that Wind Waker does do good.
Yeah.
I mean, Ocarina would also be different if it wasn't played on like a 1985 Mellotron.
Well, this
Yeah,
is where
exactly.
I would be very, very interested in like a full remake of Ocarina, because that's part of the problem about Saria Son is like Saria Son's like what, a fucking 20-second time loop, if that's just repeated because of the processing capabilities of the Nintendo 64. So it would be interesting to see, or maybe if like Nintendo could release like a full commissioned version of the soundtrack.
Well, go on Spotify. There's a lot of people out there on Spotify that have made very large orchestrated versions of some of those songs, and they're beautiful. Like they are great. I mean, Skyward Sword is the first game to actually have an orchestrated soundtrack, but yeah, go listen to those because they're great, and they're not just like the little 5-second snippets that you usually hear in Ocarina. They're more fully fledged out, and they bleed into one another too, which is really cool. The music is great. I think this art style is timeless. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, I can play Ocarina. I mean, I could play Wind Waker like 20 years from now and still think the game looks good, just because they chose such a unique styling and stylistic world that I think it'll never look bad. It'll always look fresh and fun. And I mean, I think the story in this one is definitely one of the better ones. I think Link having motivations outside of just like being the hero is just like, is also relatable too. In Ocarina of Time, like I said, you're just kind of thrust into this position, and your Navi wakes you up and it's like, hey, you're the hero, save the world. And you're like, what if I don't want to save the world? Like, what if that's not something that I want to do?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I want to nap.
exactly. What if I want to sleep?
In this, it's like, you know, Ganon has your sister.
Right.
Ganon is big evil, so...
Exactly. And our Link in Wind Waker might also not want to have to take on this burden, but from one way or another, his sister has now been taken, and he's now being thrust into this, not as hard as Ocarina of Time, but now he has a motivation, like, I need to save my sister, and now inadvertently, I have to also save the world.
I think that's why it's more natural, because it's like he stumbled onto fighting Ganon.
Yeah.
As opposed to, this is your destiny, like, suck it up.
Yeah.
Banish the evil.
Yeah, exactly. And just Link. This Link is the most, I think that's why he's relatable, because he's just like, when he's angry or upset or confused or frustrated or flustered, you can see all that in his goofy faces.
I gotta disagree with that one, man.
No, I love it. I think that it helps. 100%.
I like expressive Link, but then like some of the faces, I'm like, oh, this is taking me right out of the moment.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it adds to it, because I think that it just helps this character not just be kind of a flat shell of itself like Ocarina of Time Link, where it just kind of seems like, or most of the Links, yeah, exactly, that they're just like this character. Like I said, again, talking about the narrative, they're just this person that's the hero now has to save the world. There's no motivation, there's no emotions that are attached to that. Where this Link feels like he has emotions that are not only associated with like the story, but the characters he runs into as well.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's an issue on my part, because I guess I'm expecting realistic expressions in
they're very
wacky,
goofy and silly,
cartoony game, which you're not gonna.
I mean, he's a 13-year-old boy whose sister was taken by a bird. I would be very expressive.
Bro, there's expressive, and then there's like whatever that stoner face was that I sent Jared. Like,
oh yeah. This is my favorite one too. Like this Link is like the best one. Like that.
Yeah, the unamused Link. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to play more of this game. I love Wind Waker, and by the end of this, it potentially could be one of my favorite Zelda game. Ocarina of Time I had a lot of nostalgia for, but I played that pretty young. I played Wind Waker in a pivotal point of my life, and I have a lot of nostalgia for Wind Waker as well, as I'm coming to learn this. I'm replaying through this, so try to keep my bias out and give a critical opinion of this game that I've played many of times.
Why don't you tell the people what next section we're playing so they can play along with us?
Yes, so we ended this with getting all of this stuff we needed done in Windfall, getting our sail, and now we're heading out into the ocean. We're heading to Roost Island to tackle the first dungeon of this game. We will be playing through that entire dungeon right before the second dungeon in the Forbidden Woods.
So that is Roost Island, Roost Cavern, and then the Forest Haven.
Yep, Forest Haven, and then right before that, and right after that will be the second temple. So first temple, and then a little bit into the next section is what we're going to be doing in next week's episode. Guys, Thanks for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode, as always. Follow us on our social media. Our link tree is in the link of Spotify. Wherever you find us, give us a rate on Spotify. We haven't said that in a hot second. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. I think we have about 20 reviews on Spotify, and we actually have a 4.7 on Spotify, not a 5. Yeah.
Somebody give us a less than 5. We need to find it. Can we find
it?
And
what's interesting about Spotify things is I can't see the reviews. It just shows like the review on there, so I can't see who
Spotify,
gave us.
Why are you stuck in the 90s with your fucking review system? What is this?
I mean, they gave it to us, so I mean that's good at least. But yeah, review us on Spotify. Give us some stars so we can beat up the algorithm and more people can hear us and our fun adventures.
We genuinely welcome constructive criticism. If we're doing something wrong, tell us. Kai will read your voice in a funny voice.
Saying things like beat up the algorithm.
Yeah.
You know?
Did I say that? Mm-hmm. I mean, like beat the algorithm, but then up.
Fuck that algorithm up.
We're going to bend the algorithm over like a pretzel and make it do our bidding.
Exactly.
Hit the algorithm from the bag.
Jesus. Okay, guys.
I'm gonna do what I would do to those pig monsters to the algorithm. I'm gonna tell you. Flapping lips. Ass for days.
Oh man. Okay, with that, guys, we will see you next week where we will be tackling Roost Island. Till then, we love you. Mm-hmm. Goodbye. Stay fancy and fabulous.